Welcome to Snetterton for round 2 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. We're watching all the action from the Pitch BTCC programme. Download the app to get all the information you need on what's happening behind the scenes in the British Touring Car Championship. So free practice 1 has just started and the cars are just out on track scrubbing their tyres in. So I'll just run you down the garages and give you a few of the stories that have happened in between that first race at Thruxton and back here at Snetterton for round 2. So first of all, we've got here Team Dynamics, who, big story really, they're right down the bottom of the garages. There's a couple of teams who've all got awnings, which is Team Hard and Car Gods team, Sicily, but it's a big story, Dynamics, right down this end of the grid. They used to be right up the other end, but make no mistake, they'll be at the sharp end of the grid when it comes to Sunday. So going a bit further up, then we've got Accelerate Motorsport with Trade Price Cars. They've got the same team running the 4 Hyundais. Tom Ingram was particularly strong at Thruxton. Very impressive run there. And I think Chris Smiley would have been much, much stronger, not for that shunt in the first race with Gordon Shedden. But going a bit further up, as we go further up here, so the Hyundais, one mistake I made at the last one. I said Hyundai were for Japan, but they're not, are they? No, it's South Korea. I know that now. Geography was never my strong point. But as we come a bit further up, next team in the run is Power Max Racing. Again, a team who's looking to do well. I was a little bit disappointed with Dan Lloyd at Thruxton. Didn't perform as well as I expected him to. But Jason Plato was really smashing it out of the park with P2 at the last round. And I think Jason's got his mojo back. So going a bit further on, past the PMR team, and you can just see how many tyres they've got running. In this first free practice session, what they'll be doing is scrubbing in some tyres ready for the weekend. They've also got the option tyre here, which they've got the choice of which race to use it in. But the interesting thing is they can scrub that in this session just to let the tyre cure, and it gives it a little bit of a better life as they go through. So the next team we've got here is Laser Tools Racing. So I got confused then because I saw Team BMR, so I always get confused because they've got so many different names. But again, very strong driver lineup. Ash Sutton is probably, if all the team managers always vote for him at the end of the year as being the strongest driver on the grid. And I think he would have come away from Thruxton with a big points lead in the championship, except that he had 2 races, one with contact in the first race from Colin Turkington where he lost out, and in the second race he had a car problem. So expect Ash to be right up the front of the field here this weekend, especially as he's not running as much success ballast as he possibly could have done. So going a bit further on up the grid, then we've got one of the big performing teams from Thruxton, which is BTC Racing. Now they've got a new driver this weekend, so they've got their existing drivers with Josh Cook and Jade Edwards. Then joining them and replacing Dan Camish, because Dan was only in there for one off round, with Senna Proctor. Now Senna, as you know, has won touring car races before, so he's a front-running driver. So they've really replaced like for like there, and I expect Senna to be right up the front. Interesting to see what success ballast he'll have. I expect, and I think he has, the same as Dan Camish scored, even though he's a new driver coming in, because that's a new regulation this year where the drivers, actually if you replace a driver you have to run their success ballast. Toka can step in if they think you're playing hooky and putting Rob Huff into the end of the season. They can put some extra success ballast if they want to, which is fair enough really, because if they're playing a wild card who's much better than the driver he replaces, then he's worth having more success balance just to even things out. So going through from there, next team up we have got Toyota Gazoo Racing. Much the same driver lineup, so we've got Rory Butcher and Sam Smelt. To be honest with you, they had a bit of a shocker at Thruxton. 2 big accidents, which, for Rory, and really he would have scored big points because I think he finished 5th in the first race, but then 2 accidents in race 2 and 3 really ruined his weekend. Sam Smelt was getting back used to touring cars again, and I should see him getting better and better as the weekend goes on. A bit further, we've got Nick Hamilton's truck there, which is tucked in the middll, so it's a team hard car. The rest of the team hard cars are down the bottom. We've got Nick Hamilton's car in there. And then coming through from there, we've got the big guns here. We've got West Surrey Racing, they've got Colin Turkington, they've got Stephen Jelly, they've got Tom Oliphant. They've got a good, experienced driver lineup, they've got a good, experienced team, and they've got a great car. I think they're going to be the big point scorers here this weekend. Colin was awesome here last year, scored a max, I think he scored 60 points, which is the most anybody scored at one meeting over the 3 races. So, and he's got less, because he didn't have a great Thruxton, although better than he's had in the last couple of years, he hasn't got much success ballast, so expect him to be right up the sharp end along with Ash Sutton. So they get going through, and then there's a bit of a story there, rear-wheel drive up at the front. This circuit tends to favour rear-wheel drive a little bit because there's quite a few tight, twisty corners, and a lot of acceleration and traction is a key. So as we go further up, there's a team here that hasn't been up this far before. So Motorbase, and partnered with Vera Tools, but also with MB Motorsport. They came away as not a surprise really for people in the know, but definitely for maybe people outside. Motorbase are now right up at the top of the grid, so they're right at the sharp end. First car out on this morning's circuit was Jake Hill, who's leading the championship, and then followed by Ollie Jackson. So it's the first time that this team has been right at the front on the garage lineup. Doesn't make a huge difference to everything going on, but it could help a little bit because we've got that qualifying shootout, and the guys who can get up the front and go out first will have just that little bit of extra track time to maybe sneak an extra lap in. So it'll be interesting to see. The guys are out at the moment on free practice 1. Who knows who's going to be fastest? I haven't seen the times yet. It'll be a good idea of what's going to happen later in the day in qualifying. So I'm here with a new face to the grid this year, which is Jess Hawkins, who's standing in for Andy Neat this weekend. So Jess, how's that happened for you?
Basically, Andy gave me a ring, not completely unusual, but little did I know he was going to ask me to fill his seat for Snetterton. He wanted a weekend off, personal reasons, and he asked if I wanted to take his seat for the weekend, so obviously, completely shocked, I was very happy to say yes.
So now you're in the Vera Tools Ford Focus. What's the difference between the two on the limited laps you've had so far?
Oh God, that's a very difficult question, to be honest. Very pleased with the team here, likewise as I was with PMR, but obviously new bunch of people here. Everyone's been very welcoming. Car seems amazing, and yeah, just a great team of people around me at Motorbase, and I'm really happy. It's nice to be back. The first weekend I did just came and went way too quickly, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. So this weekend I've just said, it is what it is. I may never get the opportunity again, so I'm just going to come, enjoy myself, enjoy the experience.
Well, fantastic. Have a great weekend. Let's hope you can bring a few points home.
Yeah, that's obviously the goal. I think FP1 went relatively well, so something to work with.
No, brilliant. Good luck.
Thank you.
One driver we haven't seen much of this year is Aaron Taylor-Smith, but he's just had a great FP2 here at Snetterton, and I've just caught him in his skiddies. He's just gone for a swim. So how come you're dressed like you're going for a swim?
Because I have a pool back there. So I bought like a 35-pound little kiddies paddling pool because it's unbelievably warm in the car, as you know yourself. So after every session, get out, have a bit of an ice bath, and feel refreshed again. So no, all is good. It's getting there. It's it's learning the car, getting better back into it, but it'll come.
Exactly. And so do you expect it to get hotter as the weekend goes on?
Yeah, like I think like it's because if you think about it, if it's 25, 26 degrees out here, it's over 60 inside the car. So all of a sudden, when you're actually in it, it really takes its toll on you. So by the end of race 3 tomorrow, I'd say people will be hanging on for dear life.
You do a lot of fitness training. What sort of stuff do you do?
Everything and anything, from gymnastics to Olympic lifting to anything that I can get into. Like prime example, like I went and did the Irish Indoor Rowing Championships. Just because it's something different to do, so it's something that I like because I always say motorsport's a game of variables, and a variable that you control is your fitness, so just maximise that. And that's kind of what I kind of like dive into and try to do the best I can.
No, brilliant. Now, going back to that session there, you were just hovering around the top 10.
Yep.
I mean, that's a big improvement from Thruxton.
Massive. And I think that's the thing, like the car will keep progressing. And even that session, like we went one way towards the end of mine, one way towards the end of Jack's flew. So it's nice to know, okay, the car has more potential in it. So we'll put our thinking caps on. Like I think the goal I would love to be in the top 10 shootout, and then just see where we get to from there. And fingers crossed it's possible.
Well, good luck. Go and put your clothes on.
Yeah. I'll go hang out with you.
See you later. Thanks very much. Cheers,
Aaron.
Aaron. Thank you. Cheers. So that's the end of free practice 2 here at Snetterton, and front runners seem to be Gordon Shedden and Tom Ingram. Both of them topped each of the practice sessions, seem to do a restricted amount of laps to save tyres. I think the hot conditions here this weekend means the teams are trying to conserve tyre life so they don't run out of tyres by the time they get to the last race on Sunday. There's a few other people with a few problems. Colin Turkington stopped on track during that session as well. Not sure what that problem is yet, but we'll try and delve deeper and see if we can find out what's happened there. And a couple of other people a little bit further down the order, but I think it's been held back by a little bit by tyre conversation. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on when we get to qualifying, which is the next session to come up. But why not download the BTCC pitch app, find out exactly what's going on. So we've asked everybody in the paddock who they think's going to be fastest today in qualifying, and they all think they're going to be. But let's ask some of the fans and see what they reckon. Hello, madam.
Hello.
Who's going to be your favourite for qualifying?
Ash Sutton.
Ash Sutton.
I think Ash as well. It looks like Tingram's going well, but I think Ash is going to pull it out of the.
Okay.
Shedden looked really strong in free practice too.
Colin Turkington.
I don't care as long as Flash and your boy. Elbows and elbows, that's what you want to say.
Right.
So, you know.
Jason,
Jason.
Turkington, I reckon.
Number 62, Rick Parfitt Jr.
All right, okay. Rick Parfitt Jr. and
Tom Ingram.
Thea, who's your favourite? Aidan Moffat. Well, he's definitely the most handsome man on the grid, I'm sure. If you want to get involved in the Pitch BTCC conversation, download the Pitch BTCC app and find out what the drivers, the fans and all the teams are talking about behind the scenes. So one of the surprises of that qualifying session that we didn't see this man in the top 10 shooter, Ash Sutton, who's looked strong today and was super strong at Thruxton. So what happened, Ash?
I'd be really honest with you, we haven't quite got to the bottom of what the issue is. There was a rattling noise from in the car. We got our best lap actually taken away of us, so we missed out on being in the shootout. But ultimately, if we got there, the car wasn't able to continue anyway. So, yeah, losing the best lap hurt us a bit more, but it's just made tomorrow a bit more interesting.
So it is a mechanical issue, not actually just a handling issue?
Yeah, there's a mechanical issue going on there. Obviously, if you look back at FP1, FP2, the car was fairly strong. So, being in top 5 in both sessions, you think, okay, going into qualifying, we'll be in a good position, but unfortunately, luck again wasn't on our side.
Okay, well, hopefully the team get that sorted out, but based on your pace, it's looking like you could have a weekend like Thruxton where you're coming back through the field.
Yeah, as much as they're entertaining, I could do without them if I'm honest.
Well, we love it.
But yeah, look, I've got no doubt in the guys to get the car ready for tomorrow. They get to the bottom of the issue, and yeah, we'll give it our best shot tomorrow.
All right, good stuff. Thanks very much. I know you'll be on top of them, making sure they get on top of it.
I'll give it my best go.
All right.
Cheers, Shaun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. So we're one of the heroes of Thruxton and also heroes of the touring cars altogether with Jason Plato, but qualifying didn't quite go how I was expecting it to go.
We tried to be a little bit too clever. We went with a setup which on paper looked like it should give us what we wanted, and it just didn't work for us. I didn't like it. So then we're like, ooh, backtrack after free practice 1. Qualifying, I think. I mean, you know, from wherever we are on the grid, 18th, 19th or something like that, it's going to be tough with the weight on. But of course, we know there'll be some incidents. We've got to pick up some places, try and get some points, and then of course we lose the weight for race 2. But I think the setup which we tried in qualifying, I think it will look after the front tyre better than the setup which we had in our minds to run. So I think actually, I mean, we're certainly not going to be, kissing pretty girls and spraying crap champagne in race 1. And I think probably because of the where we might end up in race 2, it's probably unlikely we'll be spraying some fizz on race 2. But race 3, who knows? But of course, we need to keep evolving the car over the course of the weekend. And but the most important thing this weekend is just to get some points. Just score some points, stay in touch. Live to fight another day. But I think with this being such a long lap, it hurts when you've got the weight. That's for sure.
No, good stuff. Well, thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Looking forward to you spraying champagne in race 3. So the man who's been making it look easy all day is Gordon Shedden. He qualified on pole position when everybody else seemed to be struggling.
Yeah, it's a really interesting qualifying session. There's 2-part session within a top 10 shootout. So we find that everybody finds himself in a little bit of a different situation this weekend because we arrive with no carryover tyres. So it means that tyres are very limited, so our running up to qualifying has been quite constrained. So we knew we needed to keep tyres for the right time in qualifying, which limited our running early on. But geez, it paid dividends with that lap in the second part of qualifying to be on pole position.
So, I mean, right from this morning, you've been restricting the laps you've been having, and that's literally just for tyre management purposes.
Yeah, purely tyres, not having enough to do what we need to do for the races. And obviously qualifying a big part of it, but we need to make sure we're in the best possible position for tomorrow, for all 3 races, to go and try and score some big points. And for that, you need tyres, and good ones.
Yeah, no, definitely. But looking forward to tomorrow, you're happy with the management of the car over a longer run?
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I mean, obviously every driver says they think they'll be okay, but a lot of rear-wheel drive cars about, which is quite concerning. But we start from the front, they've got to get past, and we'll do the best we can.
Thanks very much. So I'm with Rory Butcher, who qualified his Toyota Gazoo Racing Toyota, unsurprisingly, in P4. But he was looking a little bit touch and go earlier in the session with a few track limits. What was happening there, Rory?
If I'm honest, I feel it was probably a little bit marginal, but you can't. It's fact because it's done on the camera system here. So basically, T7, I think it was both times. I just had a touch of oversteer, and it just sent me a touch wide. And what it did was it meant that the time for me was reset, and I had to go and do it again. And luckily, we went a wee bit quicker. Got a little bit extra practice, and got through to the top 10 shootout. So I was delighted.
Because I think you had more than one, though. I think that when
it was 2 on the same run.
Oh,
so
was it? Okay.
It was basically the first lap I did, and then the second lap, and they were both eliminated. So then I was like, oh right, okay. The team weren't too happy, but thankfully got back out and got it back in the top 10.
No, brilliant. So, one of the drivers who had a bit of a tricky Thruxton didn't go 100% the way you wanted with a couple of incidents on track, but looking much stronger, coming back the old Rory that we all know and love.
Yeah, that's it. It's a really, really tough championship, and these cars they're all different. They run a lot of common components, but they all feel very different. And I think I'm just building myself into this car and starting to get to grips with it. And today, it was a little bit hard work in FP1 and FP2 to get the right feeling, but we got there by quali. And I think sometimes you just need to kind of just drive and get it done, and we did that. So.
Well, we spoke to some of the rear-wheel drive drivers, and they're confident that their car's going to be looking after their tyres much better than the front-wheel drive cars. What's your plans for making sure the front-wheel drive car that you drive stays to the end and looks after its tyres well?
It's you really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I think that one of the strengths of this car is how it looks after its front tyres. So we're confident that we have a good couple of laps sticking at the front, and come near the end, I think we will be able to challenge a rear-wheel drive. I don't think the shift is too big between them. So, and I think, to be fair, Gordon on pole, I don't think he'll have any issues taking care of his tyres in the Honda either. So, we'll be fine.
No, it's good. Well, he's your brother-in-law as well.
He
so
is.
Let's hope we don't have any shenanigans on those first couple of laps.
Yeah, we'll be good. We're just, we're doing our own thing. There's another 10, 15 guys that we need to worry about, not just each other. And we get on well, and yeah, we'll be fine.
So one of the drivers who really impressed me in that qualifying was Jess Hawkins. Hardly any time in the car and managed to get right up into the top 20. How did that work for you, Jess?
It was brilliant for me, although I feel like it could have been better because we were set 5th fastest time in Sector 1, I think 9th in Sector 2, and then Sector 3. Somebody right on the racing line, which cost us a fair bit of time. So I'm pleased, but it could have been better.
That's good. So going into the race tomorrow, I mean, you haven't done a British touring car race in this sort of heat. Are you super fit? Have you got a big training program that you carry on anyway?
Yeah, to be fair, I've needed to train really hard for the upcoming W Series. So this will be a nice, introduction to the heat. So yeah, I've been training really hard. I'm just going to make sure that I drink lots of fluid.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of fluid. It's a little bit like cycling in a sauna, I think, is probably a good way of describing it.
Have you ever cycled in a sauna?
No.
Me neither. Me neither.
But you can think what it's like.
Yeah.
You can think what it's like.
I'll tell you what I've done. I have sat in a sauna with my helmet and race suit on.
Okay.
Yeah, just to try and get used to the heat.
Well, that's pretty similar.
Yeah,
There you go. That's probably a better analogy than cycling in the sauna. No, good stuff. Well, good luck tomorrow. Hope it all stays together in race 1 and you can start moving up, get really into those points maybe for race 2.
Let's see how it goes. I'm just going to enjoy myself.
Brilliant. Good luck. So I'm with one of the stars from Thruxton a few weeks ago, but it hasn't quite gone to plan for Josh Cook today. So, Josh, what went wrong today?
Obviously, we've got a lot of success ballast in the car. What makes our car so great at other circuits? There's always a downside to the concept that we have in the car, and certainly get our 1 lap pace at Snetterton has never been our strongest circuit. It's always been the one that kind of hurts us the most. So we expected to struggle a little bit. We did make some changes in the right direction, hope to kind of help that issue that we've got. But we found a bit of time, but everybody else found a little bit more. So sadly, that's the way it goes. It was a little bit to be expected, but like I say, a bit more painful than we would have hoped.
Well, you don't look as frustrated as I thought you might look, so I suppose you've been sort of knowing that maybe you wouldn't be quite so competitive in qualifying. But when it comes to race pace, will that help you a little bit coming from, is it 16th on the grid? 15th, 16th?
I think it's 17th. Yeah, yeah, of course, we've got a really good car on race day, and what it's like, we only get limited time on a weekend to make any changes to the car. Kind of re-engineering and reinventing the wheel for one qualifying session of the year is probably not a wise move. Really we need to come here and do a lot of testing specifically for Snetterton Saturday, but it's just the way it goes.
Join us after the break on race day as we chat to the fans about returning to Snetterton. Don't go anywhere. So one of the big changes this weekend at Snetterton at the British Touring Car Championship is that we've got fans back. And one of the things with fans is that we've got all the merchandise here. So I'm going to run you along and show us exactly what we're up to. So we've got T-shirts with all sorts of things written on them. Half of them I can't tell you about. Then we've got mugs with all the drivers' names on. Have you got one for me? Have you got one with my name on it? No. You don't go that far back? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. So then we come through, and then we've got model cars and bits and pieces here, all sorts of bits and pieces going on. And then we get up, we've got a Tom Ingram stand for all the dedicated fans of Tom Ingram out there, of which I'm one, honestly. I don't like to talk about it too much, but coming through, so keep following me down, keep up with me. And then we come through, hi girls, how you doing? Have you sold lots of hats today? Good. What's the most popular thing on the stand for Tingram today? Oh, one of those. Okay, there we go. Your Tingram hat, everybody. Tingram hat. So that's good. So get yourself one when you next come down to a meeting. Then we come down to this stand. I was interested to see this because these are doors off of some of the cars that I used to run. So these are off Honda. I think they're Honda FK2s, or they could be MGs. I can't quite tell. That shows how technical I am, really. But this is Davai's stand. There's a few more bumpers and bits and pieces out here. So you can buy all sorts of it. There's Davai at the back. He's doing his bit. So you've got hats, you've got trophies. So if you don't want to spend £500,000 trying to win a British touring car trophy, you can come along and buy one, which is probably quite a bit cheaper, really. And then all sorts of bits and pieces, t-shirts, team t-shirts. What else we got over there? We've got a few more shirts, and then a bonnet. That's a very old bonnet. Looks like it's seen better days. Not one of mine. And then coming through, we've got more t-shirts, more hats. So this is what a British touring car fan can spend their hard-earned cash on. All the goodies from a British touring car team, and maybe a few things to take home just to show the family when they get back from a day's racing. Welcome to race day, and the big story of today is the fans are back. Incredible. Great to see them back after about a year and a half of not being at a British touring car round, and they look really excited to be here. We've got some big news. There's a change on the grid, but we'll tell you a bit more as we get into the programme. Why not download the Pitch BTC app and get all the information? Download the app, and across the race weekend you can get involved with the debate, vote for your driver of the day, see all the stats and debate with the other fans. Have a look at some of these pit time questions and answers from the weekend.
So my question to you guys is, if BTCC decided to do one round abroad in Europe, which circuit would you prefer to go and watch?
See the BTCC in Mugello, Italy.
So, what classic touring car design would you put on my car?
I would choose the Texaco or the old Caliber designs from the RS500 days.
One of the things we've been looking forward to here at Snetterton, as well as the action on the track, is all the fans being back. And we're going to go round and have a chat with a few and find out what they've been missing when they haven't been able to come to race circuits over the last year and a half. What have you missed about British touring cars and not being able to come to the circuit?
Well, we've managed to watch it on telly pretty much, so it's been fairly good, but you do miss the atmosphere.
Well, you don't get as good a suntan on the telly, unless you've got to run those really big tellies.
Sometimes it just washes away in the rain, though.
So here's some ladies with some ice creams. Let's find out what they're about. Girls, how is it? What's it like being back at British Touring Car Race live?
Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant.
Really missed it.
Brilliant. What, the ice creams or the racing?
Both.
Both. What flavour have you got?
Orange, will it?
And what have you got?
Magnum Classic.
Oh, and what have you got?
Normal.
Oh, okay, she's got normal.
The atmosphere and everything, really.
Yeah.
It's fantastic just being here.
Brilliant.
Being part of it.
And you get a nice bit of suntan as well?
Oh, man, yeah.
I got a bit of that yesterday.
That's terrible, but there you go. That's all part and parcel of the fun in England, isn't it?
No, brilliant. Thank you. Great to see the fans back. Cheers, thank you. Cheers. So here we go, as a man who's got a foot in two camps, motorsports, he's here, but also football. So, sir, just to stop you there, what have you missed about being in British touring cars?
The crowd, the atmosphere, yeah,
Brilliant,
and the noise
brilliant.
of the cars.
Brilliant. And are you watching the football on your phone as well?
Of course, keeping track, 1-0.
1-0 still. How many minutes to go?
About 3 minutes to go.
Who's the goal scorer?
Raheem Sterling.
Brilliant, brilliant. Good stuff. Good luck. We've got some more young fans here who are playing a bit of football while the England game's going on. So, what have you missed about British touring cars not being live?
I haven't really been here that much, but my brother has been here. I've only been here once before.
All right. Did you come to Snetterton before?
Yeah.
Okay. And was it as hot as it is today?
No, it was quite cold.
Oh, right. Okay. And what's the best bit you think about British touring cars?
Probably like the speed of the cars, and it's really exciting when some cars get close and you get anxious if they're going to crash or not.
Oh, right, okay, well that sounds good. So you've had plenty of that today. So how about you? So you're a little bit older, so how many touring car races have you been to?
5, 6 I think.
Fantastic. All at Snetterton?
No, some at Brands Hatch, but most at Snetterton.
Oh, okay. And who's your favourite driver or team?
Oh, probably either Jason Plato or Ash Sutton.
Oh, okay. Well, Ash Sutton's had a great day. Jason's not quite so good day, but maybe it'll all come working for him in race 3. Hello, guys. How are you? Good. Do you like British touring cars? Yeah. And when's the last time you got... What's that bit?
A piece of the track.
Oh, a piece of the track. Well, you both got a bit. That's a bit of the curb, that is. That's where you get your tyres cut. That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, so what else do you like best about British touring cars?
That there's simulators.
Some what?
Simulators.
Simulate. Oh, you like the simulators, okay. And what do you like best about it?
I like when loads of people cheer on when they're all racing.
Fantastic. And who's your favourite driver?
Jason Plato.
Jason Plato and?
Stephen Jelly.
Stephen Jelly. Well, that's handy because he's on pole position for the next race, so you could have a really good result today.
Yay!
Right, good. And Jason, what about? Where's Jason going to finish in this one?
I think he's 20th.
Oh, okay, that's good. Well, good luck. Great to see you back. Keep out the sun. Keep those hats on. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye. Bye. So one of the talking points overnight that Gordon Shedden's rear wing was out of kilter and not to the regulation. So he's been knocked out of qualifying. He has to start race 1 from the back of the grid. So I'm going to ask team boss Matt Neal, how does that affect your race weekend and how does that sort of regulation work?
Yeah, if you read the official bulletin, it's a technical infringement, but basically it's a slight mistake. The angle of the rear wing is slightly out, where you have to take a datum off the sill, a 0, and then it's set, and it was set to 1 degree negative instead of 1 degree positive. So it's a gnat's hair, but it's a rule, it's an infringement, so we are off the back of the grid, which is a proper wounder for us.
Well, the unfortunate thing, I suppose, is that Gordon and Colin were so far ahead of everybody else that actually 1 degree is going to make next to nothing difference, really. So, the positions would have been much the same. So it is a big shame for Gordon. But the good thing is, that Gordon's got the pace, but also the experience to be able to work his way through from the back of the field.
Yeah, the rub is the penalty doesn't fit the crime because it has negligible, if anything, effect on the performance. The problem around here, it's tight, the grid's very competitive. It's going to be tough to get through. I think we just got to try and target a result in race 3 with him, see if we can get on the reverse grid for race 3 and hope we get lucky with how many numbers they pull out the ball.
So what we're also looking yesterday is tyre wear, and also because of the extreme heat we're going to see today. And I know your team was very, very conscious of that and did very few laps in the practice sessions because we spoke to Gordon, and that's that was a big thing that you're looking at. Is that really going to help you today because you're going to have extra tyres compared to maybe some of the other teams?
I think the tyre issue is prevalent because, one, we've done this double qualifying system at Snet, and 2, in theory, it's the first meeting of the year because Thruxton is a completely separate tyre altogether. So here we have no carryover tyres. Normally we have a few used carryover tyres from the meeting before. Snetterton, this time we don't, so it is going to be very tight for everyone. Unfortunately, I think it could really favour the rear-wheel drives, through the race with the heat. They just look after their tyres a lot better, and the longevity, they can keep on going. It's going to be tough. I mean, Gordon's light, so that's a positive. The Honda's normally good on its tyres because we work hard on that side, and the aero's strong on the car, so yeah.
Who knows? So the other question that I know everybody keeps asking you, so are you going back to touring cars next year?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? At the moment, I'm enjoying the role I'm doing in the team. Probably not this weekend. Like that's where we are. I think I get more nerves in the garage than I do in the car. But who knows? I still feel sharp. I still feel good. see what the future brings.
Well, I think all the fans would love to see you back, even though you have a love-hate relationship on social media. But I think you're big enough and ugly enough to be able to deal with that.
It's all part of the score, isn't it? So you've got to embrace that and laugh at a bit of it. But yeah, the fire still burns inside me, so we'll see.
As well as the BTCC Trackside show, there's also our studio-based show where we chat with drivers, past and present, and get all the latest news and discussions away from the track. Tune in this Sunday at 10 p.m. on Sporty Stuff TV. Welcome back to the Pitch BTCC programme. We're going to look at the highlights of Race 1, courtesy of ITV Sport, but make sure you download the Pitch BTCC app to get involved in the conversation. Before we show the highlights of Race 1, we caught up with Colin Turkington, who came in second yesterday, but overnight, miraculously, is in pole position. Let's find out what happened.
Yeah, that was a bit of a Brucey bonus, I think, to be now in pole position. So yeah, Gordon, who was on pole, I think there was some issue with his car, so I got promoted to P1, which is nice. You know, obviously I finished Q1, top of the timesheets, and then narrowly just missed out on Q2. So that gives me a great run into turn 1 and sets up today very nicely. But my car just really come together for qualifying. You know, free practice was difficult. You know, the last time we raced at Snetterton was in November and it was only 10 degrees. Then we tested here in April, still very cool. But now we come in June and it's probably 20 degrees warmer than that. So it took a little bit of time just to get the car back in the window again, but it was doing everything I wanted in qualifying. So, you know, I'm feeling confident with it.
That's good. Well, I was chatting with your team boss, Dick Bennett, who knows a thing or two about setting up a British touring car, and he was mentioning that you weren't that happy with the setup in free practice because you had too much understeer. So you actually threw quite a big setup change for qualifying, but you seem to really like it.
Yes, sometimes the engineers, that you will hear them saying they threw the kitchen sink at it, and it was a bit like that. Snetterton is, you know, a tricky circuit to get the car on point because you got the really high-speed stuff like turn 1 and Coram. Car's got to have a nice balance there, but then it also has to turn and rotate in the really slow-speed hairpins in the middle of the lap. So it's not easy to just to find that balance, but I think we got close for qualifying. And yeah, we'll see what happens today. It's going to be warmer again, 25, 26 degrees, but you know, that should suit the strengths of the 3 Series BMW.
And talking about the heat, is that okay for you physically in the car? I mean, I've talked to a few of the drivers. I mean, because I know how hot it is when you get in there. I mean, is that all happy with you? Do you do any special, you know, any special drinks or any special diet that you do to keep yourself a little bit cooler?
Irish coffees? Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know this evening. But we have a paddling pool in the spa area here behind us. So so in between races, you know, I'll just jump into the cool water just to try and get the core temperature down. But yeah, it's going to be hot in there. You know, that's sort of what you train for and condition for. But normally anything that's worth getting, you got to work hard for it. So it's going to be 3 tough races, but just got to look forward to it and enjoy it.
Last year at Snetterton, you had an incredible weekend, which really sort of got you back in the championship hunt because you dropped away a little bit. Because I think you scored 60 points, which was a record over a race weekend in British touring cars. So do you reckon you might be up for re-achieving it, maybe getting 61, 62 today?
It's going to be tough to match that. You know, that was a standout weekend for me. I think that was my best weekend ever in BTCC, and obviously the success ballast is increased this year. Maximum success ballast last year was 60, this year 75, so it's a lot of weight to lump about. But you know, don't want to get too much ahead of myself. You know, just got to focus on on race 1 and trying to maximise the return in that one.
Drivers now look towards the lights. The 5-second board is withdrawn. So Colin Turkington on pole should make the best start, but as the lights go out now, let's see, he does get away nicely. So also Stephen Jelly from the second row of the grid. Tom Oliphant can't find a way through the traffic in his BMW. Tom Ingram goes defensive with Rory Butcher crawling all over the back of him down towards Riches. So Turkington leads, Ingram goes second, it's Butcher third, it's Jelly fourth, Morgan is fifth. Good start in his BMW as Turkington defends the inside line on the way up towards the first real pinch point, the Wilson hairpin. Can they all survive? The tight right-hander, the front of the field, yes, as they turn their way through the corner, and it is Turkington in the lead, but under attack because Ingram is on his toes. He's on the outside at turn 3, but he can't find a way through there. Oliphant gets ahead of Jake Hill, and also looking to go by is Ash Sutton, who goes round the outside. So 2 places lost for Jake Hill. Stands his ground on the inside line, sticks out his elbows, tries to get back through on the inside of Sutton as they come now onto Bentley Straight. Take that, Ash, says Jake. I'm moving that place back. Perfect drive. Of course, the next one's going to be harder because he'll get a lot of weight in the car. But Colin Turkington up to the line. Colin Turkington wins round 4 of the Quick Fix British Touring Car Championship.
So that's the highlights from race 1, and a really good result for Colin Turkington, but he'll have maximum success ballast as we go to race 2. Let's hear from the podium finishers and see how the race went for them. So we're here with Tom Ingram after that race 1. Tom, you seem to have quite good pace there, but Colin seemed to be managing the gap as the race went on.
He's boring, isn't he? I wanted to have a play. I wanted to do a bit of scrapping, a bit of fighting. I guess Colin just kind of, you're getting closer, so I'll just drive away from you, really. So it's very boring, really, isn't it? But yeah, it was all right. I'm fairly pleased with it. Good first race. Feels a bit like a repeat of Thruxton. You're wearing a slightly worse shirt. It's a little bit hotter, but I still get second, so it's all good.
Well, that's good. Sorry about the shirt. I'm trying my best. So going into race 2, were you happy with the car's tyre management during that race? Because it is getting hotter and hotter as the afternoon's going on.
It felt fantastic, if I'm honest. I was happy to close the gap a bit more. Like I said, had it not have been quite so hot, I was happy to sort of keep it at that pace. I think I did, did we do fastest lap in halfway through the race? I was happy to sort of keep at that pace and keep pushing because the car felt like it was there, it was able to do it, but you're just always mindful, aren't you? Soft tyre, first race of the day, really hot. And Snetterton's always bad for picking up bits of flint and bits of all sorts of stuff to cut the sidewall of the tyre. So, yeah, it's just management, isn't it? Very boring. We all just want to go out and go racing and try and overtake some people. So, yeah, it probably felt a little bit processional, but at the same time, it's good points. It's kind of exactly what we needed after the mistakes, we call it, on the grid at Thruxton. It's exactly what we needed to come back with some points. So, very pleased.
So I'm with Rory Butcher, who finished P3 in that race. Rory, how was the heat and everything for you?
The heat was fine, and I'm so pleased to bring the car back in P3. We had a slight issue with gear cut from the warm-up lap, which was quite interesting, so I had to go back to the good old days of like Formula Ford, where you just kind of flat shift and lift off the gas every time, and that took a little bit more concentration, and I didn't really need that, to be honest, going for my first podium with the team. But yeah, I think Jake, the fact that he got round outside everybody at T2 helped me, because obviously he's carrying full ballast, and I think he struggled to hold the pace. And it really helped me just make sure that I didn't have any pressure and I could just get the car to the end.
So just for the viewers at home, explain to us what a gear cut is.
So the gear cut basically allows me to keep my foot flat on the power, and when I pull the gear stick, it creates like an electrical cut, and I pull straight through. It's a seamless shift. However, because that had gone, it meant I had to lift fully off the power every single time I needed to shift gear. So yeah, it was actually a bit more physical than normal, trying to get the coordination, and then I just lost a little bit of straight line speed. Every time I shifted gear, I could just see them pulling away, but I'd settled myself for third anyway after that, and I'm just really pleased I got it home.
So going into race 2, you're going to have a fair bit more success ballast, because you didn't have any in that race as well. So have you tested the car with success ballast?
Yeah, we did all our testing with success ballast, so we have a good idea how the car will feel. However, it's not a good thing. Success ballast slows you down, so it's going to make things harder. But hey, we're here. It's not supposed to be easy, and yeah, it's just going to be another challenge. But I'll try my best to hang on to Ingram and Turks, who I think have just got a wee edge on me at the moment. And if I can challenge them, great, we'll have a go.
So I'm just catching up here with Dick Bennett of West Surrey Racing, and he gave me a little bit of a scoop. So what about that race, Dick?
Yeah, very, very happy to finish first, fourth and eighth, and fastest lap for Cole. Tom got it on, Cole set it on lap 6, Tom set it lap 7, so we had a word to him lap 8, he set it again, reset it. But then we've just found out, he said the handling went a bit odd the last 3 to 4 laps, and he had picked up a slow puncture or a air leaking from somewhere. So the left rear tyre, so through Coram he was having a bit of a handful, but he brought it home, and so yeah, with a bit more weight, and now we'll just have to be a bit more careful.
Well, it's a bit more weight, but that shows you the benefits of having a really experienced driver, because, you know, he'd have been feeling the car feeling a little bit edgy for those last few laps, but still brought it home in P1.
Yes, yeah, no, he's unbelievable. His feel for the car, he hates understeer. When he has the tiniest amount of understeer, he makes it like it's quite a lot. But we just make a tiny change to the car, and he said that's better. He can feel it so well. It reminds me of like Senna used to be in F3, the mechanical feel he's got for the car. And as you say, though, I met him in October 01, so you know, he's been with us for every season bar 3. So
was that just after your 21st birthday?
I can't remember, so long ago. Yeah, close, yeah.
No, good stuff. Well, good luck for race 2. I know you'll have everything planned for all that extra weight he's carrying, but let's see how he gets on in the afternoon.
We just have to look after those tyres in this temperature. But, you know, who can complain when the sun's shining?
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Tom Oliphant in the West Surrey Racing BMW. He's just finished race 1 and finished in 8th place. How was the heat for you, Tom?
Oh, it's quite crazy. It's obviously the hottest day we've run this year. Brings me back to Brands last year. You know, every time you get out of a car, you're just trying to take on as much water as possible. The race was a bit brutal. Last 3 laps were a bit painful in the car, but ultimately we held up well, and I thought the tyres did quite a good job, actually. So
I saw you having a chat and a debrief with your team boss, Dick Bennett. What did he have to say?
I think we were just chatting about the soft tyres. Exactly, just analysing the difference between me, Stephen and Colin. I think mine ended up being the best coming in, so that means, you know, my warm-up procedure was the one that we want to follow when we run them again. But yeah, you know, it was kind of a venture into the unknown with the softs, because, you know, the tyres go off quite quick in this heat round here. We're asking a lot of a load of a tyre, so we didn't know whether we'd be sitting ducks at the end of a race, which I think is why a lot of the top 10 went softs in race 1. They held up all right. It was a bit edgy at the end. I think, you know, little weight in our car did quite a good job, but yeah, it was an interesting one.
Good stuff. Well, good luck for race 2, where you're looking strong.
Thank you very much.
That's race 1. Come back after the break as we show highlights of race 2, followed by more fantastic interviews from our racers. Stay tuned. So another big story is the start of the Euros this week, and one of the big matches we're all looking forward to is England versus Scotland. Now the next best thing we've got here at Snetterton is England versus Scotland, but Sam Smell, who's English, and Rory Butcher, who's Scottish, and they brought their own Wembley Stadium to Snetterton.
As if we don't have enough competition on the track, we just thought we'd spice it up a little bit off track as well. Obviously England are going to win, that goes without saying, and yeah, just have a bit of fun really.
So apparently you've had the match, if you like, that's going to be put out this week, but we don't want to tell everybody the result yet.
No.
But you know, it could be a big surprise.
It could be. Whether it is or not is a different question.
But what we want to know is, were the Scottish fans, you know, throwing stuff on the pitch and things like that, and hanging off the goal bar and things like that? Oh, yeah, I'm not sure if I can say that. So how was it for you? Are you a table football fanatic?
Do you not know I was world champion?
Oh, I didn't know. I did my research, obviously.
I retired because it was getting too easy.
Yeah, okay.
So I turned my hand to touring car racing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and how are you finding that?
Much harder.
And an interesting technical regulation change for this year is that the option tyre is back, and the option tyre is the softer tyre here at Snetterton, and it doesn't have to be nominated before qualifying as it used to be. So all the other teams knew who was starting on what tyre. So now the teams and drivers can leave it till they're on the grid to actually choose which tyre they're going to be using for the race, which adds an element of surprise to the whole proceedings. And we've got a graphic here to show you exactly what's going on. So let's see the highlights from race 2, courtesy of ITV Sport, and download the Pitch BTCC app just to get all the news and information.
It is go, and a good start is made by Morgan and also by Jelly. Hollamby gets away nicely too, as there Jason Plato goes to the inside to try to gain ground on the run down towards Riches. It is Colin Turkington who leads on the inside. Ingram challenges on the outside as Butcher goes third. Jackson fourth, Jelly fifth, Morgan sixth, and Ingram takes the fight to Turkington. He gets squeezed onto the grass, but look, he could barely be closer, almost pushing Turkington out of turn 3. Fantastic.
Well, the amount of extra grip he had mid-corner was just silly. You could see it visually as he closed in, turned underneath on the apex, and wisely Turkington thinks, you can have it, mate, because I'm not going to risk a second place. It's just not worth it.
So Tom Ingram goes third. Ollie Jackson falls back into fourth. And now let's see whether Ingram can get away. But it's slightly out of line at turn 3. That gives Jackson a chance to fight back. Ingram is out wide up the curb. Having worked so hard, a tiny little slip. The door opens. Back on the inside comes Jackson. And he's going to retake the place on the inside line. Ingram needs to try to get the undercut coming out of the corner. But after all of that hard work, it's come to nothing for him. Only a couple of corners to go then. Out of Coram he comes. Ash Sutton then trying to hang on in there for his second victory of the season. Colin Turkington right up behind him as they now make that sprint up towards the checkered flag. It is at the ready, and Ash Sutton is going to come through for a second win of the season. Round 5 of the championship is won by Ash Sutton, but only just.
Jake, can I grab you quickly? So I just tried to grab hold of Jake Hill there, who had a disastrous race 2. Looked like he had some damage, really wasn't happy with the car, but he didn't really want to speak to me. He's very unhappy. Hopefully I'll catch him at the end of the day. So after a stressful race for Ollie Jackson, he managed to hang on to that podium for P3 for his first podium of the year. What are your thoughts after that race?
I'm glad it's over. I don't think my left front would have taken any more. But yeah, no, it was a good race. I think the start was what won the pot. But yeah, I think we made the right call with the medium tyre in the first race, and yeah, reaped the soft tyre in this one. So yeah, no, great job for the team. Car was absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's great. Well, I was actually surprised when Tom Ingram got past. I thought you wouldn't get back past him, but actually straight away next corner down the inside, held your line and kept yourself in third.
To be honest, I was quite lucky because actually the whole way through the race I seemed a bit stronger than them through there, and thankfully he sort of made a little mistake and I just capitalised on it and just got the run through, and yeah, and after that I think he didn't quite get close enough to have another go.
Okay, fantastic day for you so far. Let's hope you get a few more points in race 3.
Let's hope so. Thanks, Shaun. Cheers.
So I'm with Colin Turkington, who just finished P2 in that last race. How was that, Colin? Because you looked really strong at the start.
Strong but hot. Yeah, it was excellent. First time we've had 75 kilos on the car in a long time, and obviously on the medium tyre, which is still very good. So I had an excellent balance. I was working hard to try and build a gap. And I noticed the shade of blue in the mirror change colour. I thought it was Jake initially, and then I could see it was Ash, and he was rapid, and the pace delta was very big, so hard to defend against. But P2 with full weight on the car was a great result. Once I could break the toe and get my head down, I could get up the road a bit.
Well, I know it's really early in the season, but it looks like you're going to be in the lead of the championship now going into race 3 of today. Is that always the plan today? You reckon you're going to be up there?
No, round 30. Yeah, this is round 6, but no, it's just consequence. Obviously had a tough weekend at Thruxton, but still scored quite good points. So, 2 podiums really lift you up, but one more race to go today. The tables can turn
very quickly, and obviously we got the reverse grid. But you know, I'm confident that the car's working really well. The BMW suits Snetterton, so let's see. I'll get back in the spa and you know, come back out again with my gloves on.
Well, good luck for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you. So after a stellar performance, raising up from P11 up to a race win, I mean, that's something. How'd you do that?
I'll tell you what, we the whole day's been set out to do that. Obviously, after such bad qualifying yesterday, it was all about, right, let's go and win race 2 and see what we can do in race 3. But yeah, race 1 was solid, put us in a good position. Obviously, soft tyre, no weight. Everyone else carrying a bit of weight, it fell into our lap.
So that mechanical problem in qualifying, what was that in the end?
Unfortunately, it was an engine. It did let go on the opening lap of qualifying. So, if I'm honest, we were very, very lucky to even get a lap on the board. Yeah, and a lap to put us P16. Ultimately, we should have been 11th, but I had one disallowed. So, I was really pleased. Knew the pace was in the car. We knew we lost 0.8 a lap in qualifying. So, yeah, to come out today with that in the back pocket and knowing the pace is in the car, just about keeping it clean.
So do you reckon with the maximum position you're going to go back to is P12, do you think you've still got a chance of winning race 3?
Well, I think that's a tall order. There's a couple of guys still left to go on the softs. We've seen how strong they are. But I think, yeah, I'll pull number 7 out, so we're starting there. At least it's not quite as big as the P12, so unfortunately, yeah, it means that we can then just ultimately go for a solid finish at the end of the day.
No, brilliant, fantastic race, really entertained us all. So thanks for all your efforts today in the very hot car.
It's very warm now, I can tell you that much.
So one of the disappointments of race 2 was championship leader Jake Hill, who dropped right down the order, finishing outside the top 20. Jake, what happened?
Just front tyre wear, Shaun. You know, I think it's a tricky one. We changed the balance of the car thinking that when we take all the weight out it's going to become even more lively, and actually I did the opposite. So the rear had so much rear grip and we took away everything from the front and made it overwork the front, I think. So yeah, we basically ended up with running out of tyre, and with the last 3 or 4 laps to go I was down to the cord. So yeah, not ideal.
Okay, so I mean, what sort of changes can you make to the car to protect the tyre for the race 3 of the day?
Oh, there's lots. I mean, it's mainly just shifting the weight around, you know, in terms of the flat patch and setting the car up differently to move the weight. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to sit down, regroup. I know on the medium we're okay. I think we're definitely fine with 75 kilos, so I'm sure we'll be fine with 0. So hopefully we can tune it up to as best we can, and obviously with no weight, I hope to be fast enough to come through.
Okay, well, looking forward to seeing a charge through the field and you to minimise that points loss to Colin Turkington, who's taken over your championship lead now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just all about minimising that loss, and if we can make it back into the points and get somewhere decent, I'll be happy.
Running a British touring car team is a little bit of a thankless task because you've got so many people that you have to keep happy. It's not just results on the track that you have to be managing. It's all the other staff, the sponsors, the families of the drivers. It's an endless list of people to keep happy, and that's a pretty impossible task, to be honest. Running a touring car team and getting the car, drivers and all the team ready for a race is a massive pressure environment. You're constantly trying to achieve targets that sometimes are slightly unachievable, but to be honest with you, the team and crew really make it happen, and you've got to have a good group of people around you to make a success of this sport. The coolest driver on the day will be the most successful. Drivers who lose their head invariably end up in the wall. It's very, very important over the 3 races of a British touring car weekend that a driver keeps finishing and keeps moving forward, and at the end of the year it's the guy with the most points and the coolest head who'll win the championship. Motorsport has been and always will be a team sport. It's all about the people involved in the team, not just the drivers or the sponsors or the team owner. It's all about the guy, right from the guy who's sorting the tyres out from the weekend up to the race engineer. Without all these people doing their best, a race team will never be successful. To win in the British Touring Car Championship, you need the right driver, you need the right budget, you need the right car, and most importantly, you need the right people. You'll never win in British touring cars unless you've got the right people. Definitely a people sport. See you after the break for race 3 of the British Touring Car Championship, where we'll have more action like this. Welcome back to Snetterton for race 3 of the British Touring Car Championship. Why not download the Pitch BTCC app to get all the information from behind the scenes? Here are the predictions from the fans at home for the fastest lap in race 3. We also asked the fans here at Snetterton who they think will come out on top.
Hopefully Colin.
Colin, okay. Colin, there's some Colin fans there to join the masses of Ash Sutton fans going on. How about you, who do you think is going to win?
What's the reverse grid?
Stephen Jelly, P7.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, I think it's a good call, actually,
Yeah.
to be honest. How about you, sir?
Maybe... Yeah, probably Stephen Jelly as well, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Stephen Jelly's a good call, to be honest. Rear-wheel drive, car's going well, he's got low ballast and he's on pole position. Yeah, no, good stuff. I'm sure he'll be pleased to hear that. Hello, sir. Hello. Who do you reckon's going to win race 3 of the day?
I really don't know.
Well, you've been working hard up here on the bridge.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't see. I'll tell you what, say Colin Turkington, you won't go far wrong.
Okay, Colin Turkington.
Well done, well done. Thanks very much. Cheers, thank you. Hello, so who do you think is going to win race 3 of the touring cars?
Not got a clue, Mr. Hollamby.
Oh, we're not got a clue. Okay.
Not got a clue.
How about you, sir? Guys, what do you think is who's going to win race 3? What do you reckon? Sutton. Okay, that's good. Sutton's a good bet, isn't he? Yeah. Who do you think is going to win race 3 of the British Touring Car Championship today?
Hopefully Ash Sutton.
Another Ash Sutton fan. He's the fans' favourite, definitely at the moment as we're going through. So as we come down over the bridge, so we're just over the main straight here at Snetterton, but there's lots of fans over that side. We haven't got any support races going around at the moment. But sir, who do you think is going to win race 3 today?
Race 3, Tom Ingram.
Tom Ingram, how about you, mate? Same, Tom Ingram. I think we can hear Janetta's going round at the moment. We've got a few more fans here. So, who do you think is going to win race 3 in the British Touring Car Championship today?
Turkington.
Turkington. How about you, mate? Who do you think is going to win?
I'd like it to be Ash Sutton, but...
Ash Sutton. Hill. All right, okay, I think that might be a struggle, but let's see how we get on. How about you, sir? Who's going to win race 3?
I wouldn't know, I'm afraid. I'm here for the minis.
Oh, okay. All right. Who won the mini race?
But we're here with Dan Zeller.
Dan Zeller. Well, he's been having a good day. I've seen him up in the results today.
He finished in 4th today, so that was all right.
Okay,
really
good stuff. We're bringing you now highlights of race 3, courtesy of ITV Sport.
Now the drivers look towards the lights, but the lights go out now. It is go. Bad start by Butcher. Ollie Jackson tries to jump around him. Good getaway by Tom Ingram to try to split the BMWs, but he can't do it as Jelly leads Oliphant down towards Riches for the first time. And into the back of Jelly goes Oliphant. Ingram dives to the outside line. He's got second. He goes for the race lead, but there's more contact. Oliphant goes around. There's drama there with Jackson involved in it. So off the road is Tom Oliphant. He's way out in the weeds. And for the race lead, Tom Ingram on the inside up towards Wilson goes through. Sutton tries to force the issue on the inside line. Shenton's right there as well. But it is Ingram then who goes by. The Hyundai hits the front. Jelly is on the attack again. Looks for the inside line, but he can't do it. Hyundai sweeps through Gorham, drops down now towards 12, up towards the timing line he will come, and Tom Ingram is going to get accelerate and Hyundai first ever win in the British Touring Car Championship. Checkered flag at the ready, and round 6 of the series is won by Tom Ingram, who is absolutely over the moon as he comes across the line.
So I'm with Gordon Shedden, who finished P3 in that last race of the day. Started the first race of the day at the back of the grid, so he's fought his way through to get on the podium. But I'm sure you're expecting more after qualifying yesterday.
Yeah, very cruel to have pole position taken away, and it was. It looked like a long way to the front of the grid when I was sat waiting for race 1 this morning. But we've battled, we've done what we can. Very difficult round here to overtake. You know, it's easy to defend round here, so the moves we made were good, they were decisive, and to finish on the podium is something. It's not what we should have had this weekend,
but that's what we do have. So we get on with it and we move on to the next one.
Well, it was interesting to see your battle with Ash Sutton, because I think you two are probably the hardest chargers on the grid, and with a very similar style, not afraid to get their nose stuck in when they need to. So it's a great battle to see. Did you think you had a couple of chances maybe just to sneak past him?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of goes, but my opportunities were round the outside, and at this stage of the day, lots of rubbish on the track on the outside, just not quite enough. But yeah, there was a couple, but the couple of chances that I had would have really been vicious. It's probably the best way to put it. And at this stage of the season, you know, had we not finished that race, it would have been a bit of a nightmare. So discretion, the better part of valour.
Well, the good thing is the pace that you've shown this weekend, going towards Brands Hatch, ballast free, I would expect, depending where you are in the points, but ballast free. I think you're a pretty strong bet for maybe a race or two win there.
I hope so. I mean, it's been a shocker of a start to the season. You couldn't have written the script any worse as far as as far as we're concerned. But we got a podium. It's the first podium. We got the first fastest lap in that last race as well. So hopefully the trajectory is going the right way.
Well, good stuff. I hope the pace turns into points.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cheers. So I'm here with Ash Sutton after a hard-fought P2. He seemed to have a Honda stuck to his bumper for most of the race, but fantastic race. Good news is you're leading the championship.
Yeah, look, to come away with the championship lead after yesterday's shenanigans, I'm over the moon with that one. That's a mega job, and like you said, that Honda, under the brakes, that's lively, that thing.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, you've got now one of the most experienced drivers on the grid tucked under your bumper for those last 5, 6, 7 laps. How did that feel? Any different from the other drivers you've raced against?
Just a name on the window, isn't it, at the end of the day? No, but look, I've got a lot of respect for Shaun. He's achieved a lot over the years, and I think we've got that mutual ground that we give each other room. So if the move was on, he was going to have the room, but I would have made it hard for him.
So the only bad news is you're going to have maximum success ballast going to Brands Hatch, which isn't probably the ideal place to be carrying all that weight. But how do you go round Brands normally?
Yeah, it's normally okay, but like you said, it's all about acceleration there. With 75 kilos on, it's going to play a big part of that. Obviously, it's really close there as well. But at the end of the day, I'd much rather have the points over the weight.
No, good stuff. Brilliant day for you. Great racing.
Cheers, Shaun. Thank you.
So it's always special to get your first win in the British Touring Car Championship, and I'm with team boss Justina Williams from Accelerate Motorsport. I'm sure the team are over the moon with that, but how does it feel for you personally?
Very emotional, so I need to be a bit careful I don't actually start to cry again, but it's been incredible. I can't explain how good it feels. All that hard work that we go into, the team, the drivers, Tom's been incredible, he's an engineer, he's just helping the whole team move forward. So to get a win in our third year of touring cars in round the second race weekend of the year, I'm delighted. I just can't explain how I feel, it's incredible.
Well, I think people outside don't realise how much hard work goes into running a British touring car team, and it's just a constant 150% a day job, really. And and to win a race is fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel for the team. If it wasn't for my team, we wouldn't be here anyway. They just work so hard, but it's 150%. The hours the guys have put in. The season ended late last year. We had an early start this year. We had 2 new cars to build. That's a big ask, and to then be faultless. It's just, we've given Tom and our drivers the best chance of getting a really good chance of getting on the podium and getting a win, which we've now done. But I just can't believe we've done it. I knew we could do it, but I just didn't know when.
And looking at the results that Tom's got today in your third year as a team in the British Touring Car Championship, you're in with a shout of winning the championship.
Oh, we're going to fight to win the championship, there's no doubt. We're 2 points below Ash Sutton. We're going to do our damnedest to win. And that's what we always planned to do. We just didn't know when, but we now know, with Tom in the car, with the team, everybody else around us, we're going to win.
Thanks very much, Justina. Good luck for the rest of the season. So that looked a bit boring for you, race 3, but definitely not a boring day with a 4th, a 2nd and a 1st, and probably the most points maybe you might have scored over British Touring Car weekend, but great results for you and the team.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic, Shaun. I had a thoroughly enjoyable weekend. The sun's been out, we've had some great results, and it's great to do it in a manner with so many nice things part of the weekend. Our first win for the team, the first win for the Hyundai. In blazing sunshine, around their home circuit, with fans on around the outside as well. It just felt so nice, so nice, and so great to do it as well. In only our second weekend in the car, so it feels like I've been driving this car for years. It's a home from home.
Well, it does look like you just jumped in it and away you go, but I'm sure there's a lot more work that goes into it than that. But going to Brands Hatch, a circuit that you always go well on, you've obviously got a little bit more success, ballast maybe, than you started the last one. I think you're second in the championship, I think, now. So how's that going to help or help you against your championship rivals?
Well, we came into this weekend 6th, so with 30-something, 33 kilos of ballast. That's actually a nice amount to go into a race weekend with, because it makes a difference. You notice it slows you down, but not enough to make it impossible to qualify with. Where we're going to now, I think we should be top 3 in the championship now, if not second. So we know that we're going to be heavy going into Brands, but it's a circuit I love. It's a circuit I enjoy, but it is going to be difficult. Of course, it is with taking some weight in. But we'll just go about it and approach it as we do every weekend with just focus on scoring some points. If there's a win on the cards, we'll snatch one. But we'll enjoy this weekend first. We'll get back to the hotel, have a few beers, and just enjoy it.
That sounds great. It's great. Now, is it a bit too early to start talking about the championship, or are you still just taking it race by race?
Of course it isn't. That's what we want to go for. Of course it is, as everyone does. But I think so. I don't see any reason why we can't. It's a consistency game. We know that. We've shown that we can put a consistently fast weekend together. We've shown that twice now. We had a great opening weekend at Thruxton as well. So I don't see any reason why we can't challenge for it. As long as we stay level-headed, as long as we don't start getting too greedy and start focusing on wins, as long as we're just scoring points every weekend, I don't see any reason why not. So of course that's the goal.
Well, that sounds great. Sounds like you're in with a shout of winning this championship at the end of the year.
Thank you, Shaun. Cheers, buddy.
So at the end of race 3, we've got a podium filled with probably 3 of the hardest chargers on the British Touring Car grid. So we've got a mixture of youth and experience up there. Let's see if they can open the champagne bottles as well as they go racing. Well, what a fantastic day's racing here at Snetterton. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to download the Pitch BTCC app to get all the info of behind the scenes in the British Touring Car Championship.